recently just finally finished watching Jujutsu Kaisen, and this was a show that had gotten a lot of notoriety because of maybe its animation studio being the fact that it's animated by Mappa, and Mappa is currently animating the final season for Attack on Titan, and they've animated numerous of other anime, and they're incredibly talented, and they do a very good job at what they're given and the source that they're given, and etc, etc. I just heard a lot about it, and I thought it was about time that I finally saw it. It took me a little while to finally get around to finishing it, but I finished it a couple of days ago, and to be honest, in comparison to everything that I've heard so far about it, I think it's just a tad overrated. Not to say that it's bad, because I actually thoroughly enjoyed it. I think the characters are fun. I think the whole like cursed energy like power system is interesting. The comedy with certain character interactions is pretty funny, actually. I actually enjoyed a lot of like the comedic moments within specific episodes. I think the comedic style for the show is actually pretty decent in comparison to a lot of other shows that we've gotten. Like, I guess if we're going to compare this to other shonen anime, because that's kind of just the only thing I can really do with this show when I think about it. Like My Hero Academia, it's not really that funny, right? A lot of the comedic slapstick moments, they're not really that entertaining to watch. And a lot of the jokes just kind of get overdone, and they're really repetitive, and the interactions between the characters are either, you know, kind of funny or really annoying. And with Jujutsu Kaisen, I can at least say that the interactions between the characters are actually interesting enough to where I'm invested and I want to see how they're going to interact with one another. But a main problem that I have with the show is the fact that I just can't really connect with the characters too much. Like, I guess if I was to compare it to My Hero Academia again, in Season 3, when it felt like they were trying to build up to the death of All Might, All Might was a character that I had actually gotten super emotionally attached to, and was a character that I really, really liked. That the fact that they were even teasing and hinting at the fact that All Might was potentially going to die was actually very upsetting for me, because that was a character that I didn't want to see. Obviously, I look back at that in retrospect, and I kind of think that the series would have hit a lot harder, and the development for Midoriya as the main character would have been a lot stronger if All Might had to die, because his whole thing right now, with where I currently am with just watching the anime, is that he has to look at the previous wielders of One for All and take what they had learned and the quirks that they had and use them to his own benefit, use the lessons that they learned and put his own spin onto it, and, you know, continue on from there and continue to grow stronger until the point where he finally becomes the #1 hero in the world. Jujutsu Kaisen just doesn't really have a character that does that for me. Itadori Yuji is just kind of like a whatever main character who I compare a lot to Naruto as a main character, because they have very similar personalities. They both have like this demon spirit or whatever, you know, trapped inside of their body. The only difference is that with Naruto, it was involuntarily done to him when he was a baby, and Yuji decided that he was going to do that willingly because he wanted to protect a guy that he didn't even really fucking know. Which, speaking of which, Megumi is basically just a almost carbon copy of Sasuke, except Megumi is slightly more broody, but like not that much, because at least Sasuke can show some other form of emotion other than just kind of being an edgelord. Megumi is like super edgelord, super broody, but he's not annoying about it. You know, he's actually pretty fairly tame. Nobara, like, she's basically like the Sakura of the group, but she's far more interesting than Sakura, and she's, I think, probably my favorite character besides like Gojo, who I'll speak about in a moment. Just because she's just like, I compare her a lot to Sakura in my mind. I was comparing her to Sakura as I was watching the show, and I was like, man, this is what Sakura should have been. She should have been super cool, had defining character traits right from the fucking start, besides, oh, I like so-and-so character, and actually did stuff with the main cast and actually isn't completely fucking useless. Now, I know some fans of Sakura are going to hear that and they're going to get upset and me calling Sakura useless. I'm not saying Sakura is useless entirely, because later on she actually learns how to be able to do something, and she ends up becoming pretty much an equal to Tsunade in terms of medical ninjutsu, and ends up topping Tsunade. But that isn't until like way fucking later. The first 251 episodes of Naruto, and then going into Shippuden, she doesn't fucking do anything until Shippuden when Naruto comes back to the Leaf Village. She doesn't do fucking anything. Nobara, however, is actually capable of being able to do stuff and actually contributes to the group in the missions that they're trying to do, which is take down the cursed spirits. Sakura doesn't fucking do anything. Nobara actually is capable of being able to take down a cursed spirit, and we see that numerous times in the first half of the show, and then we see her take down a special grade cursed user or whatever the fuck in the fucking last episode. She isn't completely useless, and she's super cool and kind of entertaining to watch. That's why she's kind of my favorite character right now, because I compared her so much to Sakura in my mind, and I was like, man, she's just way fucking cooler than Sakura, way more interesting than Sakura, and a lot of other characters that you can also compare Nobara to. She's just the main female character of the show, but she has character traits and she's actually doing stuff, and the stuff that she does is super cool. Her fight against Momo in the I guess shonen tournament that they did, where they're basically just supposed to go after cursed spirits for points. Her fight against her was super cool, and I actually really enjoyed it. And then just I compared her so much to Sakura in my head, and as I was watching the show, I was like, man, Sakura wished that she could be as cool as this. And she wishes that she could be as cool as this chick. Anyways, Gojo ends up showing up, I think around in the first episode, actually. He shows up really early on. And of course, the main obvious thing that you can compare him to, and I think a lot of people compare him to this character as well, Kakashi from Naruto. Because he's got he covers his eyes, and then whenever he shows his eyes, he gets super powerful. And then he's kind of a subversion of expectations, because Gojo's basically unstoppable. He's this super powerful, unstoppable character who can one-shot every single fucking character's entire show. And you expect him to be one way, but he's not. He's actually very comedic, very laid back and chill. And you kind of don't expect a character like that to be like that, but he just doesn't really care. He has a vibe to him, and you can respect the vibe. He doesn't really care too much about a lot of things. He's just super chill, and he'll do what he needs to do because that's what he's meant to be doing. He's supposed to be going after cursed spirits or whatever. But he doesn't really give too much of a shit. And you know what? I vibe with it. I don't care. Gojo's really cool. But the show continues on. Like I said early on in the video, Yuji gets, I guess, technically possessed by an evil spirit, but he's able to control it and subside it within his body. But the whole point of this show so far is for Yuji to get all of the fingers of Sukuna, who's the evil spirit, and get all of the fingers so that way they can get this cursed spirit entirely in one place, in one vessel, so that way they can then exercise it. And that's the main thing that they're trying to do. And meanwhile, we have these other cursed spirits who are basically just cursed energy users who are trying to basically stop them from doing that, and they're trying to get Sukuna on their side. And I read up a little bit because I was a little confused as to what was even going on in the first place, because as I was watching it, they kind of certain scenes weren't really placed in a way to where some stuff just wasn't coherent and didn't make too much sense. At least to me, I was a little confused at certain points. But what I read was essentially that the cursed spirits, Mahito and a couple of other guys, they're trying to get rid of all the people who can't, channel their cursed energy, because the way that these cursed spirits even form in the first place is because you use cursed energy from your negative emotions, and because a lot of people don't know how to channel their cursed energy, they just expel constant cursed energy out into the world, which then creates cursed spirits. And that's essentially what they're trying to do. They're trying to get rid of all the people who can't channel their cursed energy proper, and anyone who can channel cursed energy, and if they get in the way, then they get rid of them as well. Which, it's just basically this back and forth cat and mouse game where these jujutsu sorcerers are trying to go after these cursed spirit, cursed energy user motherfuckers who are trying to, kill everyone and also capture Sukuna through Sukuna's fingers and get him on their side and all this other stuff. I don't know. Just the main plot isn't too interesting, but it's supposed to be the character interactions that are supposed to keep you going, and what they have to do in order to get to where they need to go. Because the plot is super basic, right? It's very similar to a lot of other shows. A lot of the show is very similar to other shows that you've watched before. And that's why I don't say that it's bad, right? Because if I said that Jujutsu Kaisen was bad, any other shonen anime that I've watched that I do like, and I do find really good, I would kind of also have to agree that it's also bad because there's so many comparisons. I just thought that Jujutsu Kaisen was just a little bit overrated, and I don't think it's nearly as good as a lot of people were really making out to be. The character interactions aren't that good because most of the time in like the first half and even a little bit after the first half of the show, the main supporting characters were all basically just not even really there. And I think that was one of the huge factors as to why I couldn't really connect with any of the other side characters too bad or too much, because they just weren't there. They weren't there enough for me to want to give a shit about any of them. Like, yeah, Yuji is cool, I guess, but he's basically just like, oh, I don't want to kill anyone, and I want to save people, and I want to be a good guy, but then I have this fucking asshole trying to take over my body, and that leads me to do kind of fucked up things. What do I do? I don't know. Yuji is just such a basic character, and just a basic shonen anime protagonist that there's nothing really unique and special about him that makes me want to, you know, see him as a really cool character, other than the fact that, like, sometimes he does a couple of neat things, and sometimes he can be kind of funny. With certain character interactions, like later on with his fight with Toto against Hanami, I think that's what the Cursed Spirit was called. That fight was fucking sick. I really love that fight. The best fight of the entire show so far. Like, his interactions with Toto was really funny. Like, the way that they become friends essentially is because Yuji says that he likes women who are tall and have a big ass, or someone who's like Jennifer Lawrence, and they immediately become best friends. I thought that was funny. That made me laugh. But everything else was just kind of like whatever. You know, it was just a really entertaining show to watch because the animation was consistently well fucking done. Mappa did an incredible job animating the show. The fight choreography was obviously top notch and was very fun to watch. But that was kind of about it. The show for me, I actually said this to a couple of friends, this show for me is kind of like One Punch Man and Mob Psycho 100. The characters, I like them enough where I'm invested in them and I want to see more of them and I want to see what happens to them, but I don't feel a strong connection to any of them. They're just characters that I see do cool shit, and I want to see them do more cool shit. And that's kind of it. Of course, obviously, this is only one season. I haven't even seen the movie yet, and I don't even know when the second season. I don't even know when the second season is going to be coming out. But so far, the plot is just super kind of basic to me right now. The characters aren't too strong in my mind, and I can't get that invested into any of them. The animation's good. The music's good. The choreography's good. The comedy is actually pretty decent, better than most shonen anime, to be honest. I do want to see more of these characters. I do want to see what they're going to do and how they change as time progresses forward with them and what they have to do. But I don't know. I just feel like something needs to be done for me personally. I don't really know what it is yet in order for me to really feel like I can truly get attached to someone, right? That's just me personally. This is just something that's been on my mind for a little bit. I really want to talk about Jujutsu Kaisen. This isn't really a review, although I'm probably going to title it that regardless. This is just me getting my thoughts out there about Jujutsu Kaisen because this is something that's just been kind of constantly going on in my mind. But now I need another show to watch. So I got a couple of things in mind of what I want to watch, and I don't know if I'm going to get around to ever really talking about them, but we'll have to see when it happens. Season 2 for Komi Can't Communicate is currently airing, so whenever that finishes, I'm probably going to make a video on that. Probably won't be too much. I just would really want to talk about it because I've been really enjoying it. I might watch My Dress Up Darling and talk about that because I've seen a couple of clips, and it's pretty funny. It's pretty cute. The characters are really neat, and I want to see more. I don't know. I have a couple of things in mind, like I said. We'll have to wait and see what happens, but yeah, that's pretty much the video. That was really all I wanted to say. If you liked the video, be sure to leave a like, and if you want to see more, be sure to subscribe. I'll see you guys in the next one. Have a fantastic day. I'm out. Peace.